It seems like the USA is currently dealing with the biggest assault incident in the history of sports. The infamous sports doctor Larry Nassar has been making the rounds on the internet since 2016, when allegations of sexual abuse were levied against him. In this video, we'll look at the resulting $1 billion lawsuit that his victims seek from the FBI. Let's jump straight into it. First up, who exactly is suing the FBI? Approximately 90 claimants are bringing the case against the FBI. Almost all of them are gymnasts who were abused by Larry Nassar. It saddens us to admit this, but maybe one of the reasons this case has gained so much traction is that some very well-known names are ready to speak up and make the abuser pay up. This includes Simone Biles, Ali Reisman, and Michaela Maroney, all of whom are Olympic gold medalists. It's expected that Dr. Nassar has many more victims, with over 300 girls coming forward with allegations against him. The victims rightly blame the FBI for failing to stop this monster when they knew what he was doing. As gymnast Samantha Royce said, if Nassar had been arrested in time, he wouldn't have had the chance to abuse hundreds of girls, including her. Simone Biles stated that not only does she blame Nassar for what happened, but she also blames the entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse. Here, she is obviously referring to the shortcomings of the FBI, which she says turned a blind eye to the victims. Maroney echoed Biles' sentiments, saying that when she told her entire story of abuse to the FBI in 2015, painfully and tearfully recounting that she'd been drugged and molested, the FBI agent on the line replied with, "Is that all?" She went on to say that this was definitely the worst moment in the entire process for her, followed by, "Why is the FBI involved?" Now we know what you're thinking. How exactly is this doctor connected to the FBI? Well, here's the thing. He's not directly connected to them. However, the victims of Dr. Nassar are suing the FBI because of its sheer and utter negligence in handling the case. The Federal Tort Claims Act allows those who've been hurt by the federal government to get justice. The victims hit the FBI with a $1 billion suit under this act. So where exactly did the FBI mess up? FBI agents had known since 2015 that Nassar was accused of molesting gymnasts, but they had failed to act. Because of this, Nassar continued to prey on young girls for more than a year. This is definitely something that can be classified as a tort. Under the law, a tort basically occurs when someone breaches the duty of care they owe you. In this case, the FBI definitely had the duty to follow up on the numerous tip-offs and complaints that had been made against Dr. Nassar. They then breached this duty when they did absolutely nothing about it. Maggie Nichols, a national champion gymnast, pretty much summed up all our sentiments when she said it's about time the FBI was held accountable. Moving on to what went wrong during the FBI investigation. The federal body, USA Gymnastics, told FBI agents in 2015 that 3 gymnasts said that they had been assaulted by him. However, the FBI didn't open a formal investigation and didn't even bother to inform federal or state authorities in Michigan, where Nassar was a doctor at Michigan State University. How do we know this? The Justice Department's Inspector General and internal watchdog was the one who made all this information public, so this can definitely be relied on. FBI agents in LA began looking into Nassar in 2016, investigating whether he was involved in sex trafficking. However, they didn't even alert the Michigan authorities. We're seeing a clear disconnect between the federal and state authorities over here. If only the two had coordinated and worked together, hundreds of girls wouldn't have faced the horrors and trauma that Nassar subjected to them. In fact, one of the FBI agents, Michael Langman, allegedly lied when he was interviewed about the case. At length, this special agent was questioned about why he didn't pursue a claim against Nassar. He was also asked why he didn't write up the report of an interview with a critical victim until more than a year after the interview took place. Well, in response, Langman was just making excuses and trying to deflect the blame. In fact, there are claims that a lot of evidence was tampered with and the documentation of the interview excluded important information and some false information. Perhaps the biggest failure of the FBI here was that they didn't coordinate with the state authorities and didn't let them know that they may be engaged in sex crimes against children, a crime that the state prosecutors could eventually charge him with. Moving forwards, there were no consequences for the FBI. Yeah, we're not exactly surprised either. The Justice Department said it wouldn't press criminal charges against the former FBI agents, who didn't start an investigation quickly enough. The Justice Department said it wouldn't press criminal charges against the former FBI agents, who didn't start an investigation quickly enough. The Justice Department said that it would continue to learn from the incident and keep victims at the center of their work, ensuring they are heard, respected, and treated fairly throughout the process. We don't believe that for even a second. They also vaguely added that they would work with Congress to ensure an incident like this doesn't happen again. When speaking about why the agents would not be criminally charged, the Justice Department emphasized that this didn't mean the officers had handled the investigation of Nassar as it should have been handled. They also said that this didn't mean the department approved the agents' conduct. Well, if they recognize that what happened was seriously messed up, why can't they charge the FBI agents as the law says? One of the 2 agents who primarily held the blame for this mishap was fired, while the other retired. We guess we can say at least one of them faced personal consequences for their actions, but of course, this is not the same as a criminal charge. Not to mention that the other got away with nothing, and is now enjoying his retirement. Next up, is the FBI really at fault? According to lawyer John Manley, who defended many of Nassar's victims, this decision of the Justice Department was incomprehensible. He said the FBI agents had violated their oaths of office and colluded to cover up the biggest sexual assault scandal in sports history. The Justice Department was definitely involved in the attempt to cover up the failures of the FBI. Many were infuriated at this decision by the Justice Department, and they openly called for the FBI to be held responsible for its actions. In fact, many criticized the timing of this announcement by the Justice Department. He said that since it was timed between a long weekend and during the coverage of a school shooting, the obvious attempt was to have the public overlook this information so they couldn't protest against it. Horowitz, the watchdog who let the cat out of the bag, also revealed a secret deal that FBI head Abbott tried to get into. Speaking to Penny, then president of USA Gymnastics, Abbott asked him about a job with the Olympic Committee. This is a clear violation of the conflict of interest policy. Abbott applied for the job but just wasn't good enough to get it. When the scandal broke out, Penny resigned under pressure. Despite this open corruption, Abbott went on to retire peacefully from the FBI. Up next, how exactly was Nassar caught? Well, Nassar wasn't arrested until autumn of 2016, with no thanks to the FBI. Instead, he was found out because of an investigation by the Michigan State University Police. The Michigan Attorney General's office eventually handled the case against him. All this could have been done much sooner had the FBI just alerted the state authorities of the accusations against Nassar. Nassar pleaded guilty in 2017. He was found guilty of possessing child sex abuse materials and of molesting female gymnasts under his care. The trial spanned over 7 days, with 156 victims speaking out about the abuse they had suffered at the hands of Nassar. When sentencing him up to 175 years in prison, Judge Aquilina told Nassar that she had just signed his death warrant, which was an honor and a privilege because he never deserved to walk outside a prison again. Finally, is there any room for reform? FBI Director Christopher Wray apologized to the victims in court and said it was inexcusable that the FBI didn't act on time. He said that the FBI is doing everything in its power to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. But are they really? The Justice Department has asked the FBI to coordinate more closely with state authorities and local law enforcement about potential crimes that are worth pursuing, even if they fall outside federal law. Just because the FBI thinks it doesn't have jurisdiction over the matter, it can't pretend that the danger was never reported. But again, these are just vague directions, and only time will tell if the FBI has really learned anything from this tragic case. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you think the lawsuit will be successful? Will the FBI change its ways? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Goodbye for the time being, and see you in the next one.